Okay, so going to the Walmart is scary enough, but in this episode, I'm actually going to be doing a Halloween walkthrough at the Walmart. So join me as I jump into the Walmart and we go scanning through the aisles for trends. Now, I want to point out I'm not going to be looking at anything trademarked or anything that is copyrighted. So I'm not looking at Spider-Man. I'm not looking at Batman. I'm not looking at anything that is Guns N' Roses or AC/DC or anything like that. I'm looking at Halloween stuff. And I'm getting ideas on how I can use this for crafting, especially for print on demand. So here's just an example that I found at the Walmart. This one says Home Sweet Haunted Home. And the other sign underneath it says it's good to be wicked. I think these are really useful. And I just walk around and just take pictures of these. And then I make similar designs when I get home. So this, just notice this is a chalk background, bone white font. And then here it's just flipped. It's bone white background with a black font. So black and white are the two most popular colors. Don't stray too much away from that, especially at Halloween. Maybe do an orange if you like, but don't overcomplicate it. Here's another one that says anything you can do, I can do deader. A lot of times it's like funny wordplay at Halloween. So that's like, home sweet home, but it's home sweet haunted home. Anything you can do, I can do, but it's instead of better, it's deader. Pretty funny because it rhymes. Here's another one. This just says Happy Hallows Eve and it's got the 31st on here. These are like cheap, like they're inexpensive, right? So they're at Walmart, they're $5, $6, $7. So the idea here is not that you're just going to be copying these designs. I'm not just a robot and I'm just typing in Home Sweet Haunted Home and thinking I'm going to sell that on Redbubble or TeePublic. What I do instead is I try to niche down. So I would say Home Sweet Home, but then maybe I would have a state flag, a name of a city. By the way, I don't know why there's a pig there. I have no idea what this has to do with Halloween, but he's a little cutie and he's standing there and he says, welcome. So maybe they just had extra pigs and they threw it over in the Halloween section. Don't know. Anyway, we've got this other one here. This is a skeleton and he's a DJ. So where am I going with this one? Well, I'm not going to be trying to make my own skeleton DJ who's going to be projection lights and graphics. But what I am going to do is make a t-shirt where I'm niching down on skeleton designs. So think of all the things that a skeleton could be doing. Skeleton could be riding a bicycle. He could be holding an umbrella. He could be eating Thanksgiving dinner. In this case, he's a DJ. Notice this is double niching. So the reason I mention this is because I kind of see the world now in terms of niches. When I'm walking around Walmart and I saw this, I immediately said, oh, it's a skeleton and a DJ. Two niches, double niche. Here's another one. These are just pumpkins, spiders. Don't forget about classical stuff. There's skulls, ghosts. You can keep stuff very cartoony. You don't need to make them graphic, like adult. So for example, these skulls are probably the most adult thing that I see, and they look kind of like morbid if you're a kid, but they're not real, obviously. These pumpkins look pretty cartoony. The ghost is pretty darn cute. Even these I think there's like Satan over here on the right-hand side, but he still looks like he's just a little inflatable guy. So it's like you don't need to make things realistic. You can make them very cute and very family-friendly, and that actually really helps your chances of getting something sold, because families like moms and dads, they want to buy stuff that's like not offensive at Halloween, right? So here's just another one I found here. This little Frankenstein hanging out in the corner. There's a cat. This is kind of witty. These are just two legs sticking out of a cauldron. So you could remake that on a t-shirt pretty easily. You could have any sort of a pot, a pan, an oven, a chimney. You could do that at Christmas time. Santa's legs are hanging out. So anytime I buy a graphic, I look at the whole graphic, the top, the middle, and the bottom. And you might only use a little piece of it when you're making a graphic for a t-shirt or a coffee mug. Okay, so I said at the start of this video, I was not going to do trademark designs, and here's a Wonder Woman one. So before you all wag your finger at me and call me a liar, I'm actually looking at this one here. This is a masked skeleton. So check this out. This is a little kid's costume. It says Voodoo, and I think it says Voodoo Soiree, and this is not trademarked. Black Widow is, Wonder Woman is, but this one is not. So this is actually what I'm looking at. It's a neon skeleton. That would make a pretty cool t-shirt. If you had a black t-shirt and you had a rib cage and you made it rainbow colored, that would look pretty cool. Here's another one. This is Ice Cream Queen. So this is just like a dress that looks like a cupcake. Well, you could make a shirt, a skirt, you could make something that looks and feels like that. Here's one down at the bottom. It says Candy Girl, and it's got some stripes on it. So I'm just using these as inspiration. Again, I'm not saying I'm going to copy these exactly, but you could make a shirt that looks like a big hot dog or hamburger or an ice cream cone. You could incorporate those designs into a pattern or into a larger t-shirt idea. Okay, now we're getting creepy. Walmart is definitely up the creep factor this year. I ran into this little dead baby over here in the aisle, and I just about peed my pants when I saw it. It's looking pretty grim here. We've also got the Grim Reaper, and we've got some skulls. So I know I said before you can go with the family-friendly stuff. You can also make stuff truly scary. So I would go to a place like Vexels or Creative Fabrica, or I would just go onto public domain websites, and I would find really old vintage pictures of skulls and old pictures of skeletons, and you could incorporate this pretty easily into t-shirt designs. Okay, I like this one a lot. This is a skeleton, and he's just got his hand up like he's just kind of hanging out. So anything you can do where you have a skeleton, a ghost, a goblin, a witch, anything scary, but they're acting like a normal person, that's a niche. So you could have a witch waiting for the bus. Broom is broken. You could have a ghost driving a car. Okay, you could have all sorts of like regular mundane things that these supernatural entities are doing. That's actually pretty funny. A popular one would be a witch or a goblin or a ghoul sitting on the toilet reading a newspaper. It's so mundane, that's why it's funny. So those are ideas to think about as well. Okay, this one is one of my favorites. I saw this thing here. This is a pumpkin patch. And so what I did is I took a close-up graphic of it here on the right-hand side, and you could actually go into Inkscape and you could make this. You could trace this into a bitmap, and then you could make this removing the pumpkin's word, and you could replace it with another word. You could also expand out the actual little thing that he's got around his neck. He's holding like an old vintage cigarette holder. So this is like an old little tray. You could make this larger, and you could have a sign on here. So you could commandeer something that's in the public eye. This is not trademarked. It's not like it's Edward Scissorhands or anything, right? It's just a standard graphic. Another popular item here at Halloween is street signs. So you could make this like a sign. You could make this like a t-shirt. And so again, I could take a picture of this, vectorize it, remove out the text, and then I could basically just make it my own. It's black and white. I would then add some colors to it. You're basically remixing artwork, and then you're adding in maybe local town names. Stenciling designs are really popular as well. So this is a lantern, and the lantern has black, and then it's like a haunted house with an orange background on it. If you play around in Photoshop or Affinity Photo, you can make this design really pop. So you could have basically a black silhouette with some sort of really cool rainbow or metallic or some sort of shiny luminescent background. Okay, back to the wordplay here. This one says, "Who goes there?" You could make a sign similar to this. Basically, you have clip art on the one side or clip art on both sides, and then a funny phrase. You can actually Google funny Halloween puns or funny Halloween phrases, and you can see similar things like this sort of thing. Here's another one, "Bewitch ya in a minute." Again, it doesn't need to be a sign. You could have it as a t-shirt, could have it as a coffee mug. Okay, this one is just a fringed cape. So this says fringed cape, and it's just a lady with a cape on it. So this one over here one says hooded cape. So again, these aren't necessarily items that I would make myself, but what I would do is take a picture of this, run it through Inkscape, and create a silhouette. So this is how I could create a very easy vector, and then I could just stick a skull face on here, public domain skull face, and I've now created my own artwork. Here's another one I really like, skeleton poncho. So you could take this person, run it through the vectorizing tool. That gives you the outline, the silhouette, and then from there you could update the face, you could update the actual skeleton body as needed. Okay, here's one, and I know it says Guns N' Roses, which is absolutely trademarked, so I would never ever in a million years want to create my own Guns N' Roses shirt because that's illegal. But what I would do is I would look at this and say, okay, we've got a skull, and the skull has a rose in it. Well, those are two niches. This is double niching, skulls, flowers. So I would take that, I would just recreate this shirt, but without the Guns N' Roses on it. So I'd find an old vintage skull, I'd find a flower, and then I would make my own shirt with that design on it. Here's another one. This is cards. They could be birthday cards. They could be Christmas cards. I always go to the card section if you're looking for funny designs. So here's an example. This one says, play some beautiful music. Again, this is cross-niching. Do you know what the two niches are? Little quiz time here. The two niches are Halloween and music. So you could have the beautiful drummer, beautiful guitar player, beautiful saxophone player. For Halloween, a lot of people don't really want to get dressed up. They're like me. They can't be bothered. But they'll wear a witty t-shirt, and that's as good as a costume. Here's one. It says Happy Halloweeny. So what are the two niches here? It's actually three niches. It's Halloween, it's dogs, and it's food. Not that the dog is food. Obviously, the hot dog is food. So he's wearing a bun. So Happy Halloweeny, wordplay. I guess it's even four niches with the wordplay. Anyways, there's a whole lot going on here. So the idea here is that if you love dogs or if you love cats, you can stick an animal in a Photoshop with a bun and some mustard on them, and you could have your own Halloweeny. It's a great idea. So I hope you found that helpful. A nice little quick walkthrough as we wandered around the Walmart, getting into all sorts of trouble. Security did not have to throw me out, even though I was taking pictures like a madman. But I did it for you. I hope you guys have a great Halloween. I hope you guys found this helpful. And as always, if you've got questions, comments, I'd love to hear from you. Please throw it down in the comments below. And thanks a lot for watching. Take care.